And good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to January 19th edition of the Make Us and Move Us podcast. It is Monday, January 19th. It is Martin Luther King Day. So if you have the day off and you're celebrating, enjoy it. If you're working, enjoy it. Remember, there are some shipping delays today because USPS and UPS will not pick up or deliver today. So keep that in mind. Now, if it's your first time here or your long time here, how'd that go? I need to know who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, what the weather is like in the area, right? Who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, and then your five things. Yeah, five things. What are five things that you're going to accomplish today? It's been a long weekend. So, the Bears lost, had a magical season. I will take it. Beating the Packers in the playoffs. There's always next year. So now I can watch football without stressing out. So that's kind of nice. If five things, as far as five things, man, we got a lot to do. We're still going to pull orders on that today. We're working on building out the community. We've got videos to upload today. We've got sales meetings that need to be had and or supplies. So those are our five things. As far as the weather, it's cold. Last I checked, it was 0, and with wind chill, it was -25. So yeah, it is not nice. It is not nice here at all. Uh, and today, what are we talking about today? Talking about our customers. Yep, customers are telling us stuff, but are we really listening to them? So that's what we're going to talk about today because you know um, I'm going to ask you something, but I don't why we go through and check in with people. I want you to think about this. I don't want you to answer it quickly or anything. When when a customer asks you something, ask you a question for the fifth time, when someone complains about something that you thought you had very clear, when people keep requesting the same thing that you don't offer, you know, do you see that as noise or do you see that as information? Think about that and let me know down in the comments before we get into it. So let's check in. Let's check in. Keith, good morning to you. A sunny Space Coast in Florida. A cup already empty. Off in a moment in 15. Keith, have a great day for you. Barb, good morning from north central Minnesota. -17, real feel -33. Ooh, see, we're 0 and 24 negative. Oh, hot ginseng tea in the cup, five things, quotes, 3D printing, move fabric bolts, digitizing, DTF printing. Barb's got a busy day in front of her. Renee, changed where I was watching, so not my. So I'm not sure if if my initial hello came up. I did not see it. It's 0, wind chill of -13 and gusting wind, but it's sunny and we beat the Packers. That's what I'm going with. It's yeah. I think we're overcast. We're overcast. That wind was howling all night long. It was just it was still this morning. Like usually when I let Bruno out about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. He wants to patrol out the yard, see what's going on. Nope, he went out, did his business, and came back in. He was not messing around with that today. Linda, good morning to you. Wesleyan, good morning. Yeah, cold here too. It is cold. What's up, Chuck? Good morning to you. Chuck, what's chilly down there? What's chilly down there? Linda, 36 in Central Texas. Tea in the cup, five things. Work on 3D printer AMS. Ooh, what are you working on? Put together new 3D printer, 3D print, UV print. That's my favorite part. UV print and press ornaments, press uniforms. Yeah, and currently 43 there. That is a little chilly for you, isn't it? Or are the iguanas falling from the trees yet? That's always something that mystifies me. Where just too cold for them, just too cold for them. Okay, so while everybody else gets in here, make sure like, subscribe, share. Remember, we're growing this page. As far as TRW, what's going on? Still no word from YouTube. They are a complete mystery to try and figure out. So what are we doing in the meantime? We're putting the plan together and we're going to start posting the videos on this channel. And then as we go through that, we'll get stuff linked up and from there. And then we'll make a decision this week as far as how the memberships look like going forward into February, because hey, we gotta think forward to that, if especially if YouTube is not being any help. So keep an eye out for that. We have a meeting this afternoon. We'll probably bang out the details on that. My gut tells me it's going to be a standalone community instead of based on YouTube, so we don't have to run into this. And then all the levels will fall in there. Mentorship community will be there. Major League All Star and Hall of Fame will be there, and then there'll be a bundle so you can have access to everything. So big stuff coming up. Okay, now I asked you earlier, about how you see things. You see it as noise or information. Let's dive into that a little. A lot of makers, they treat those interactions just as kind of individual moments. Like one message or one order, one complaint, or even that one weird request, and then we just continue on about the day. But our customers aren't just interacting with us, right? They're showing us patterns, and whether you notice those patterns or not, that is really gonna, affect things. That can affect your pricing, that can affect your workload. That can affect your stress level, and really, it can affect, how easy your business feels to run. And so, in the customers, this isn't about the customer always being right. It's about the customer always communicating. And let's be honest, a lot of times we're only half listening, right? So number one, the questions customers keep asking, are what are they doing? Well, they're telling you where your business is leaking energy. Well, what is the hell does that even mean? Well, let's just kind of zone in on this, because this is where, you know, a lot of people can miss the signal. If customers keep asking the same question, your first instinct is probably frustration. They didn't read. It's literally on the listing. I already explained this, right? Been there? Yeah. Here's kind of maybe a little uncomfortable truth. If customers are consistently confused about the same thing, the problem isn't them. It's where and how clarity is being delivered. Customers don't read your business the same way you do. They skim, they assume, and they bring expectations from other businesses. So when the same questions show up again and again and again, it's really not failure. It's more of a spotlight. And this is where you slow down and just, and just live and let it land. All right. Repeated questions usually mean that the information is buried somewhere, the wording doesn't match how the customer thinks, or it's placed where you expect them to look and not where they're actually looking. So, some examples of this is, customers keep asking turnaround times, even though, it's technically listed. But if it's at the bottom of the description, is anybody really reading it that far? Right? Another one, customers ask if something is customizable because your photos suggest the flexibility, even if the description and text doesn't. So for this, pretty simple. We just need to track the top 5 questions that you answer most often. And we're not going to complain about them, but we're going to redo our information for clarity around those. All right. Does that make sense? All right. Number 2. A lot of times complaints, they're not about mistakes. They're about misaligned expectations. And let's be honest, this is where a lot of people can get really defensive at, right? Most of these, complaints, they don't sound like you did this wrong. They sound like, I thought it would be different. I expected something else. I assumed. That's not a quality issue. That's just, an expectation gap. And expectation gaps, they don't show up until after the transaction, which is, why they are so painful. When a customer complains, let's just ask ourselves, you know, what did they think they were getting? Where did the assumption come from? And did we ever clearly correct it? And this might feel a little uncomfortable, but that's good. We're going to fix the problem. Some examples are, customers complain about timeline, not because it's slow, but because they expected faster based on how quickly you'd replied before the order. Customers are unhappy with a finished product because their mental picture didn't match the final result, even though there is nothing technically wrong with it. So for this, let's just look at the last three complaints that you received. Write down the assumption that the customer made for these and not the mistake that they complained about. All right. Now, number three, you know, repeat requests or demand signals that you're probably ignoring. Oh, this is one of the biggest missed growth opportunities that I feel. If customers keep asking for, the sizing, the coloring, the same add-on, the same service, they're not. That's not a coincidence. They're That's just really demanding, right? That's just really demand, or excuse me, that's really demand. Just knocking on the door. And a lot of us will ignore this. That's not what I offer. That's not what I'm set up to do. That sounds annoying. That's out of my wheelhouse. But here's the question that really matters with it. Would offering that thing simplify future conversations and sales? Because sometimes growth, it isn't about adding more. It's just about offering the thing that people are asking already, or the thing that people are already asking for. So, you really stop complaining, stop explaining why you don't do it. So, but this one, multiple customers ask for the same variation that would actually be really easy to add. Repeat customers repeatedly request an upgrade that really you already have to. All right. So for this one, let's list, the repeat requests that you've had, especially during the Christmas season, and circle the ones that would reduce friction if they were formalized. All right. So before we get on the next one, let's see what we got in there. Oh, yeah. Hey, looky. There's that. Nothing like a good troll in the morning, right? Nothing like a good troll in the morning. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Where were we? I think I seen there's where Tim's were. Tim, good morning. In another meeting, just popping to say hi. Bears had a great season. Go Lions. They did have a great season. I will take it. And hi, Russelina and Linda from Barb. And we got the troll out of here, Renee. We got the troll out of here. Okay, so back into four. Back into four. Back into four. Silence. Silence is feedback. It's just a lot harder to see. And this is where experience makers really need to lean in, right? Not all feedback comes with words. When customers stop asking, when they stop reordering, when they stop engaging, you know that's still communication. It just silence usually means confusion, friction, or some sort of indifference. And because no one complains, it's really easy to just assume that everything's fine. But silence often means that customers don't understand something well enough to move forward with it. Examples of this is a product that used to sell consistently suddenly stalls with no obvious reason. You know, Customers ordered once but never came back. Even though the product is solid. So, for action steps for this, let's just choose one quiet product or service and ask, what decision does the customer have to make here? And is that decision easy? Okay. Now, number five, one off feedback is noise, patterns or strategy. And this is where your listening will turn into leadership. One loud customer does not equal truth. One big complaint does not equal a pivot. One weird request does not equal demand, but patterns do. You know, the job isn't to react faster, it's just to notice better. When the same things keep showing up, things like the same confusion, the same hesitation, the same praise, or that same friction, that's when you act. So some examples of this is you know, several customers struggle with the same step in ordering, even if they don't complain about it. Multiple customers complaining, compliment the same thing, the speed, the clarity, the ease, telling you where your real value is. So, going through this month, what do we need to do? Well, let's just keep a simple running list of repeated customer behaviors and then review it. That's it. So, as we recap all of this, you know, your customers, they really are always communicating, right? Whether that's through their questions, their complaints, through what they ask for, or through even what they stop doing. And you don't need surveys, and you don't need more content, and you don't need to guess. You just need to treat the interactions as just those isolated moments and start seeing them as patterns. All right? Because when we listen well to our customers, decisions get easier. And when decisions get easier, business really does just feel lighter. So that's what we have for you today. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure to like and subscribe and share. This week, is there anything crazy this week? Corey and April head out to Long Beach on Wednesday. They head out to Long Beach on Wednesday. So, if you're headed to Impressions Expo, let me know. We'll see about, maybe they can meet up with you out there. I'm not sure which day they're going. If it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday, I've got to get the itinerary because since we'll be here, so orders will still process, orders will still ship, except for today. If you had UPS or USPS shipping, your stuff from the weekend will not ship today. It ships tomorrow. It'll be packed. It'll be courier will pick it all up, but remember those two are out today. Wednesday, what are we doing? Wednesday, we're talking about what would happen if you trusted yourself more this year. So, you know, a lot of us will struggle because we don't really trust ourselves, even after, years and years of doing this. So that's what we're going to talk about. Tomorrow, Tuesday with Todd, we're going to do a little multi deck. Corey's picking out whether she wants to do stones for sure, but does she want to do flock? Does she want to do glitter? Does she want to do holographic? So she's going to pick out some colors for that tonight, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. Let me see what else do we have in here. Good morning from California. Good morning. Hi, Renee from Barb. Hello, Barb. Back from Renee. Russelline's getting her hellos to Barb, Linda, Renee. Hi, Russelline. Hi, Linda. And Keith is asking, when are this week's and last week's Hall of Fame and All Star free designs going to be sent out? I believe I'll check with Pilar because I believe as long as you were signed up on that email or that registration form that listed what it was, that they sent those out last week. I believe it should be sent out today, tomorrow. I'll double check with Pilar on that and how we're doing it. And then, like I said, going into next month, because at the end of this month, at the end of the day, it's done. Unless YouTube comes back to us in 12 days and says, hey, yep, here you go. Here's your stuff. And we can turn everything right back on. We have to figure out a new, a new platform for it and how we're going to do it. And since, YouTube does take a healthy chunk of all revenue that comes into it, and we don't own it, as we've found out, or, the smartest thing is move it over to our own platform where we have a lot more control over things and can do things. So with that, that's where we're talking, our meeting this evening to kind of go over how that all looks, the future of the memberships, the future of our mentorship community, having it all in one place, the different tiers of what's available, what's not available, a kind of a master membership where you get Hall of Fame and our mentorship calls in there. So I will check with Pilar and see. Remember, at any time, you can always just email in. And if you didn't receive it, do that. Email in info at the rhinestoneworld.com and let us know your level and what you did not get last week so we can make sure you're on that list. So you will get it. I know there was some confusion last week because, some people have opted out of the emails. And once you opt out, we cannot send them to you again. So we will get through with that, and because I think it was sent out at the beginning of the week, and then that's when things got changed through it. So we'll make sure that everybody gets anything for it, and then how it all is going to look moving forward from it. All right. I'll talk to them. I can't say I have an exact answer for you now because I don't, but I will have one by tomorrow because we'll have a meeting tonight. I'll send an email in, and that'll be discussed and we'll get you on track with it. All right. Mentorship community. Your call starts in about 37 minutes. We're going to get a little work done before we do that. So until next time, everybody have a great day. Peace, love, press on, and we will see you then.